Well, that story brings forward the question about whether Eskom can be sued by people who suffered damage to property or even their businesses, as you've just been hearing in the Fulo's report. Let's get the view now of legal analyst, Adv Romeo Nthambeleni, who's joining us this evening. A very good evening to you, sir. Grateful for your time. That is the question, is it not? Does Eskom have a case to answer for the damage and inconvenience and losses that people have suffered as a result of the power cuts?
Yeah, good evening, Nthambeleni, to you and the viewers, and thank you for that question. Perhaps that question will be answered in court when the damages claim that are supposed to be brought before the courts, and the court can be able to make a determination and make a decision on whether Eskom is liable to actually pay the damages. And the questions that we should be asking ourselves is one question: the liability question, and how that will be dealt with by the court.
And Eskom has issued a statement today saying that in fact it is not liable for damage it's not liable for losses suffered by people as a result of the power cuts, because it takes the decision to implement load shedding as a result of protecting the national grid, which is what it has always said about load shedding. So would I be right in saying that a court would have to basically weigh that together with the effects on the population, where in some cases people say that they've lost a large amount of money?
That is preempting the decision of the court. What should happen is that a proper damages claim should be brought, and then when the proper damages is claimed before court and it is proved, the court is the one that makes the determination whether that claim is valid, and those who are able to prove that damages claim are going to be compensated. So the mountain to climb there, typically, is the issue of the negligence. That is the question of negligence, whether that conduct by Eskom is a negligent conduct, because that statement by Eskom, I can tell you for free, Nthambeleni, that it's a statement to try and prevent the damages claim, because if the court can grant one claim, then the floodgates will be open for anyone that has actually suffered damages and loss. So in delict, it's not as easy as you want to actually put it out. The case must be brought, experts must be brought, and the one who alleges in law must actually prove. So if they can be able to prove the entitlement of damages, then they will be able to persuade the court. But the question is whether the court will be able to grant those damages, given the situation that Eskom is actually facing, and the question of financial affairs of Eskom, as it is being funded by the taxpayers, also comes into the picture.
You use the word negligence. Help me out here, Advocate Nthambeleni. Can that be determined without looking at how the decision to implement load shedding, increase the stage, is taken, how and by whom?
Yeah, negligence is an important question that actually has to be answered to make a proper determination when you are proving a damages claim in delict. So, hence I was saying, Nthambeleni, that is a mountain to actually climb to prove whether there was a negligence on the side of Eskom. And then once you prove that there was negligence, then you are entitled to damages that you have actually suffered. Those damages that are quantified in law, then you will be entitled to recover those damages. So that is a question of negligence that is key in this matter, because once you can be able to jump that hurdle, the question is how much are you entitled to actually receive as a damages after the loss that you've actually suffered. And like I said to you, that statement that was made is to prevent this kind of claims, because once you give one and then the others can be able to bring a class action and prove it, obviously that is definitely going to collapse Eskom. A lot of businesses have gone under, and as a result of load shedding. So obviously that statement is preventing a blow. That is why it was said in advance.
And there is an increase, isn't there, in litigation against Eskom over the load shedding crisis. And I wonder if it's going to test perhaps our current law in the country, because I don't think we've ever had a moment such as this where political parties, NGOs, business people and even private citizens are saying, actually, this may be time to take Eskom to court for some level of accountability and even compensation.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're quite correct. Typically, if you look at precedent, the courts were reluctant to grant damages against Eskom on the basis that Eskom is being funded from the public purse. But now, if you have a damages claim and you are able to prove it, and there is a monetary award, then that monetary award should be granted by the court. So it's very important what you are actually saying now, that maybe this claim that can be brought can set a precedent going forward as to how these issues actually have to be handled going forward.
Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni, good to speak to you as always. Thank you so much for your time tonight.